Hi, I'm Danielle Reid from Readcity Writing, and I'm a copywriter in Australia working from home. Fill your creative cup. It's something us creatives have heard all too often. You've probably heard things like, I'm zenning out, man, raking my tiny desk for us. You know, filling my cup. Gotta get to the local acrobatics Olympics. My cup's running low. I'm off to climb a mountain, draw by the sea, see kinky boots on stage, drive to a lake in the forest, macrame an armchair, go to a paint and sip class, buy my own pottery. All in the name of filling my cup. But no one ever tells you just quite how big that creative cup is, or another perspective, how small. It might take a couple of drops to fill yours, or maybe the entire ocean. I tried Googling to find out the size of a creative cup, only to discover an amazing array of handicrafts labelled creative cups. Ironically, perhaps these were a method of creative cup filling by creating creative cups. Not what I was after. So I returned to trusty old Googlio and found that the origins of my cup runneth over originated from the Hebrew Bible and means I have more than enough for my needs. Though I'm sure the interpretations do vary. And Eleanor Brown is quoted as saying, when you take time to replenish your spirit, it allows you to serve others from the overflow. You cannot serve from an empty vessel. End quote. Interesting, but again, not what I was after. So I returned to Google to see what exactly it means to fill your creative cup. According to an article on contentment questing by Jennifer, simply Jennifer, guess it's kind of like Cher, Jennifer simply explains, to fill your creative cup means to replenish those stores of mental, emotional, and physical energy. Jennifer also meticulously explains that a device cannot run when the battery has no energy to give. This got me thinking about ways that we give and receive energy. Not in a woo-woo way, stick with me here. And especially in isolation, what are cup-filling antics we can complete, if any at all? Many people are struggling at the moment in health, homes, those fortunate enough to have one, with finances and business, relationships, children and education, just for starters. But people are also struggling socially. Why? Is it because with the lack of travel and in-person interaction, our surroundings become the same? Do we become slugs, starved of new, different and exciting experiences to add to our cup? Well, I think I've come up with why our sluggy experience starving is taking from our creative cups. And I've Googled this saying, feeling I've stolen it, but maybe not. The idea is this. P.S. If you know the source of this, let me know. The idea is this. An experience alone is merely a memory. An experience alone is merely a memory. No one to share it with, no one to reminisce about it with, no one to relive the experience with again and again. Just you and your memory. But can you draw from that memory and add it to your creative cup? Does it become an experience by reliving the memory with others who weren't there and by sharing the memory with them? I think absolutely. But that still does not answer my question. How big is a creative cup? When I was asked to give this talk, I immediately felt my creative cup was so tiny. Like I was surrounded by a giant's lair, surrounded by towering chalices, huge goblets of creativity, and a complete army of ideas and knowledge spilling from those fancy bottles shaped like this that you put wine in. Suddenly, I felt my creative cup was merely a teardrop's size. How could my teensy teardrop add to this packed, enormous cellar of creative cups overflowing with brilliance? And I decided that perhaps it could be with how I've been filling my creative cup. Because it's in these moments of isolation that we begin to look in. but you might be finding it hard to find new things in there. I know I sure am. Like in the famous words of Howard Moon, "I'm like a beach ball. I haven't got anything inside." And although my creative cup feels close to bone dry, let's see how far I get. If my creative cup was physical, maybe it would look something like this. In the first week of isolation, I made Friday baths a thing. It reminded me of all the Friday baths I haven't had and where those Fridays went instead. The bath was too hot and then too cold, which eventuated in a new comparison in website copy I'm writing for a branding specialist. Not exactly the hot-cold thing, but a comparison that shaped the copy's direction. On the second week of isolation, I hand-lettered this for my best friend. And although it isn't very good, it reminded me of shared experiences and the very moments of where we made Golden Cadillac drinks. And the very movements of using a brush pen inspired the pace in language I'm using for a client's brand voice guide for a jewelry brand. On the third week of isolation, my fiance and I played what we like to call four-wheel drive bocce. This simply involves rolling a bocce ball up a very steep backyard and hoping that we don't smash a window. This reminded me of my intense fear of high jump I had in high school. Still do, in fact. How I'd pretend I didn't pack my shorts for sport every year, so I never had to face that gleaming horse jumping pole. I began thinking of other things I've avoided facing, and that continued on for some time. Then on the fourth week of isolation, my fiance and I invented a cooking challenge. The rules were simple. We'd head out on our highlight of the week, aka food shopping. Sure, that's a highlight for you as well. We bought 5 ingredients: a protein, a mystery ingredient, a hero vegetable, and 2 other ingredients to complement the dish. Nothing came from it. It was just a bit of fun, really. And now our pantry smells like shrimp paste. So let me ask you this. How big is your creative cup? How have your new experiences or old memories inspired your creativity? What ordinary and predictable activity can you flip and apply to your work or add to your creative cup? Think deeply about where you've drawn inspiration from in the past, and where will your drop or next dash come from next? Cheers.